Hi everyone, welcome to another Yarn Scrap Friday crochet tutorial with me, Laura, and in today's video we're starting off with some Christmas specials, and I thought this week it'd be really nice to show you how to make some holly chains, some holly leaf chains with a few berries as well. So let's begin. So before we begin, I just want to mention my new embroidery tutorial channel. So I'll put the link in the description below, and I shall be teaching all of these stitches that you see here. And my next video, I'm going to be showing you how to make the large flower. But let's crack on with this tutorial. I'm using 3 colors today. I've got 2 different shades of green just to make the leaves stand out a bit more. And maybe some red for some berries if you want to add some berries. And this is a sport baby weight yarn, so that's a yarn weight of 2, but you can use any yarn that you like. With that, I'm using a 3mm crochet hook, but you can use any hook that you like that's suitable for the yarn you are using. And you're also going to need a pair of scissors and a yarn tapestry needle as well. That's one with a big eye. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so I'm going to start off with, I think, the dark green yarn, and we're going to do a little slip knot, and we're going to chain 6. Okay, so chain 6 to begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so it's chain 6. And then in our second chain from our hooks, we don't count the loop on our hook. That's our first chain, there's our second. Into there, we are going to work 1 single crochet. So this pattern's in US terminology. So in UK terms, that's a double crochet. But we're just working under 1 loop only. So make it a little bit easier later on. So work a single crochet into there. Then into the next chain, we're going to do a half double crochet. So in UK terms, that's a half treble. So pull through all 3. Then in the next chain, we're going to do a double crochet. Again, just working under 1 loop. And in UK terms, that's a treble. So 1 double crochet. And then we're going to do that in reverse. In the next chain, we're going to do a half double crochet or half treble. And then in the last chain, we do a single crochet. Okay, so that's half a leaf almost. Then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to rotate our work clockwise, and we're going to work into these chains again. Now, this is why I say only work under 1 loop, because it makes it easier to see these chains again. So after your chain 1, I'm going to go back into the same last chain we just worked and do another single crochet. So we're going to mirror the first side. So a single crochet, then yarn over, find your next chain along here. You can just look for the stitch above and then follow it down to find the chain. Into there, we're going to do a half double crochet. Okay, and in the next, let's move that tail end out of the way. Then the next chain again, we're going to do a double crochet. So find your previous double crochet and just follow it up to the top. Find a little dark hole, and into there is your chain. Do a double crochet in there to match. Then in the next chain, it's a half double crochet. And then in the last chain or the first chain, depending on how you look at it, you can't really see this one. It's a little bit more difficult to see, but just find the stitch and see where it's coming from. Just place your hook, it should find it, a single crochet in there. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3, and then we're going to turn it into a holly leaf, basically. So in our first stitch here, so this first single crochet, we're going to do a slip stitch into there. Okay, then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do a slip stitch in our second chain from our hook. So again, we don't count the loop on our hook. There's our first chain, there's our second. So into there, we're going to do a slip stitch. Okay, then yarn over and then into the last chain, should have 1 chain left. We're going to do a half double crochet. So think my yarn's gone a bit messy here, but in that last chain we're going to do a half double crochet or half treble. Then we're going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches on the main leaf. So find the next stitch on the main leaf and slip stitch into there, and slip stitch into the next leaf as well. And then we're going to repeat that. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the middle chain, so the second chain from your hook, slip stitch into there. Then in the last chain we do a half double crochet or half treble in UK terms. Okay, and then we're going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches on the main leaf. So slip stitch into there, and then slip stitch into there. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in our second chain from our hook, so the middle chain. Oops. Let's try that again. And a half double crochet in the last chain. And then what we want to do is we want to skip the chain 1 that we did. So at the top here, skip the next stitch. I think it's a chain 1. We want to skip that, find the next stitch, and we are going to slip stitch into there. Then slip stitch in the next stitch as well. And do the same thing again. Chain 3, 2 and 3. Slip stitch in the middle chain. Second chain from your hook. Do a half double crochet in the last chain. And then we're going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches on the main leaf. Slip stitch into there, slip stitch into there, and do that one more time. We chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the middle chain, half double crochet in the last chain, then we're going to slip stitch in the very last stitch. We have 1 stitch left, so slip stitch into there, and then you've got your chain 3 space at the end, and we're going to slip stitch into there to finish. Okay, so that's our first little holly leaf, and now we're going to make our next holly leaf as a chain. So we're just going to put that down. I want to change colour. So if you also want to change colour, now's the time to grab your second green, and we're going to join that just with a little chain 1. So just bring that through your loop, pull your green yarn down. I'm going to keep my green yarn attached. I'm not going to fasten off. I might carry it for the next leaf. And now we're working with our next green, and we do exactly the same thing again. So we're going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We do a single crochet in the second chain from our hook, single crochet, a half double crochet in the next chain, a double crochet in the next chain, and again I'm just going under that one bit of yarn, so a double crochet in there, half double crochet in the next chain, and then a single crochet in the last chain. And mine's gone a little bit big, so what you want to do after your single crochet is just pull those tail ends down so it's nice and tight. Okay, now what we want to do is that chain 1 that we did. So we chain 1, and you want to skip over to the other side. You want to rotate your work and bring your yarn, your working yarn, over your other leaf and your hook over the other leaf, like so. And after that chain 1, we're going to go back into the same chain we just worked into. And if you're struggling to see where it is, just find your single crochet and see where it's coming from. So it's about there. I'm going to hope for the best, put our hook in, and our hook finds it for us. We do a single crochet. And then we do that in reverse. So the next chain, it was a half double crochet. Next chain, it's a double crochet. The next chain was a half double crochet. Then in the last chain was a single crochet. Okay, so again we can just pull our tail ends, make sure they're behaving. And what we're going to do now is we're going to create the spiky bits. So again we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So this pattern's exactly the same as the first leaf. We're going to slip stitch into our first stitch here. Now working it around, so slip stitch into there. Then we chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch in the middle chain, or second chain from our hook. Slip stitch. Half double crochet in the last chain. And then we slip stitch in the next 2 stitches on the main leaf. So slip stitch in the next stitch and slip stitch in the next stitch. Repeat, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the middle chain, half double crochet or half treble in UK terms in the last chain, and then slip stitch in the next 2 stitches on the main leaf. So slip stitch in there and slip stitch in there. Next chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the middle chain, half double crochet in the last chain. Then we want to skip a little chain 1, or just skip the next stitch. You don't need to worry about what exactly it is, just skip it. And then in the next stitch we do a slip stitch, and we slip stitch in the next stitch as well. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Same thing again, slip stitch in the middle chain, half double crochet in the last chain, slip stitch in the next 2 on the main leaf, 1 and 2, chain 3 for our last spiky point, slip stitch in the middle chain, half double crochet in the last chain. Then we should have 1 stitch left. We want to slip stitch into there, and then we slip stitch in our chain 3 space at the top, ready for our next leaf. So if I bring up a loop, you can then see that this leaf sits nicely over our first leaf, like so. So then what we would do is we rejoin our first colour. So I'm just going to drop the light green, and because I didn't fasten off this dark green, I'm just going to bring that through my loop, pull the light green tail end, and don't pull too tightly on the dark green because it will distort your leaf. Now you may want to fasten off and rejoin and avoid tail ends, but for the sake of this video I'm just going to carry the yarn, and we do the same thing again. We chain 6, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So I shall make a few more leaves and then show you what it looks like. It's just the same thing again. So we do a single crochet in our second chain from our hook, half double crochet in the next chain, double crochet, half double crochet in the next chain, then a single crochet in the last chain. Then don't forget to check those tail ends are nice and tight. Chain 1, so that chain 1 really helps you turn your work, and then you want to rotate your work. Place your hook over your leaves, bring the yarn you're working with over the leaves, until you're working in the opposite direction, and then going back into the last chain. If you struggle to see it, just look for that single crochet and where it's coming from. So it's about here, and work another single crochet, then do the reverse, a half double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, finishing on a single crochet. To pick it out, find that last chain, single crochet. Then we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we slip stitch in the next stitch. And then we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the middle chain, half double crochet in the last chain, slip stitch in the next 2 on the main leaf. Same thing again, chain 3, slip stitch in the middle chain, half double crochet in the last chain, slip stitch in the next 2 on the main leaf. 1 and 2, chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the middle chain, half double crochet in the last chain, and then we want to skip the next stitch, whatever it is, and slip stitch in the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. Sure I went into that one properly. It's better. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch, half double crochet, slip stitch in the next 2 on the main leaf, then one more, chain 3, 2, 3, slip stitch in the middle chain, half double crochet, and you should have 1 stitch left, slip stitch into there, and slip stitch into your chain 3 space, so it's that big gap. And there we go, let's pull up a loop, and that's our next leaf, and it should sit nicely on top of our other leaf. And then we would just rejoin the green yarn and repeat the pattern again. So I'll do a few more leaves and then come back and show you. Okay, so I've crocheted a few more little holly leaves, and just to finish, what we're going to do is just cut our yarn, and then all we need to do is just pull the loop through, creates a knot on the end. I'm also going to fasten off the green, the light green, they're both green. And like I said, on the reverse, I've carried the yarn, but you might want to, depending on your project, you might want to just rejoin the yarn and fasten off the yarn and then sew in these ends to hide them. But for the sake of this video, I am just going to keep them like this. And we're going to look at some little berries now. So let's make some little berries to go with it. If you want to, you don't have to. Okay, so we're going to take some red yarn. We're going to make a very quick little berry, and we're going to start off by chaining 4. You can also use a magic ring as well. So chain 1, 2, 3, and 4. Going to put our hook into our first chain, bring the yarn through the first chain and straight through the loop on your hook. So you've got a little loop of chains. Then we're going to do a little chain 1. We're not going to count that as a stitch, just for leverage. We're going to yarn over and we're going to work 6 half double crochets into the center of this loop. So in UK terms, it's a half treble. So yarn over, put your hook into the center. Be careful not to put it into your first chain. Bring the yarn through, then just wrapping it around the chains, work a half double crochet. And we want 6 of these, so you can either work into the chain 4 loop or the magic circle, 6 half double crochets. So go back in there again, do another half double crochet, 2, and again, 3, and I'm just carrying the yarn as I go. 3, 4, 5 and 6, and because I've carried the yarn I should be able to just close that hole a little bit, and then we're going to slip stitch into our first half double crochet to join the round, and you want it to pop out towards you so you can almost begin to shape it losing my voice straight away. But we're going to cut our yarn, then just pull the loop through, grab a yarn needle, and what we're going to do is we're going to sew into not the one we just slip stitched into, but the next stitch. Give that a nice pull. Then we're going to go out through the next stitch from the back, and we're going to sort of draw string sew it close into the next stitch from the front, and just pulling as you go, keeping your little berry facing outwards. And we'll do that one more time. Come from the back in the next stitch, give it a little pull, and in through the next stitch. Again, give it a little pull. You should end up with something that looks like this, little berry. And here's 2 I made earlier, Blue Peter style, and we're just going to sew this on to the end. I mean, you could put berries all the way down, but I thought it's nice just to put 3 little berries at the top. So I'm going to sew that to the back, sew this tail end to the back as well. And this is just going on gift wrap, so I'm going to turn it over and just tie this in a couple of knots on the back, nice and tight. And there we go, that is our little holly and berry chain. You can make as many berries and leaves as you like. But there we go, we've got 3 little berries at the top. Let's make sure they're nicely shaped. And there we go, there's our little holly and berry chain. And you can make it as long or as short as you like. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you managed to follow along, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy these tutorials. I release weekly crochet tutorials, especially using up lots of yarn scraps, so great little projects to try and crochet tips. And a huge thank you to my Member Plus members on my website and my Patreon supporters for helping make these videos possible. So a huge thank you to you guys, and I will see you soon for some more crochet crafting fun. Thanks for watching, bye!